Good evening, class. My name is Troy Hertrick. Tonight I'm going to be talking a little bit about the 9/11 conspiracy, and there's a lot of questions involved in what goes into the conspiracy, um, what exactly it is that we talk about when we deal with the conspiracy. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about how the plane routes, the plan, some of the explosives that were put into lower levels of the building to create a perfect demolition, and talk about the false plane crash of the Pentagon, and a little bit also about how the media controls our thinking as well as the government does. But before I get into everything, a little something to grab your attention. Um, According to David Ray Griffin, a theologian who's famous, he concludes that it is already possible to know, beyond a reasonable doubt, one very important thing. The destruction of the World Trade Center was an inside job orchestrated by terrorists within our own government. Now, that's a little sketchy if you ask me, because what does terrorism mean? Well, if you look at it, terrorism means to have one group prosper from another by means of intimidation and threats. And usually that group that prospers is the non-authoritative group because they're trying to take down the authoritative group. Now, the definition of terrorism that I want to focus on today is surrogate warfare, and this is used by Martin Barrow, and it is a manufactured crisis designed to induce social change. And now I believe that is what was going on here, is that the U.S. was trying to induce social change. Now we see this in ancient Egypt, where revolt was a way to induce social change. They tried to create conflict to bring about their social issues and bring them to light. Well, the government saw a lack of patriotism in the U.S. society. And so George Bush, who was the president at the time, wanted to inflict fear upon his society. And by doing so, he wanted to blame Afghanistan, put blame on another nation to create pride in our nation. He wanted to build a very strong foundation of patriotism and what it meant to be an American, what it meant to take pride in America. And this was all just a game, basically. And prior to the actual crash of the incident, the plane routes were believed to be designed. They were actually controlled. They had control over the planes. Um, the hijackers, even if they did hijack them, would not have been able to pilot the planes into the buildings safely, for lack of a better way to put it. Um, there were pre-crash explosions just moments before the planes hit that weakened the structure in the building in the lower levels, such as the basement, the 10th floor, I believe. Um, and that was an aid or a catalyst for the demolition, or the perfect demolition, of the World Trade Center. Now, when we talk about the perfect demolition of it, we talk about free fall. Now, near free fall is what is described when we're talking about the attack on 9/11. Free fall is absolutely no resistance. And that's hard to believe when you have 8,000 tons of metal um, in that building. How can you have absolutely no resistance when it falls? They did find that there was a slight variation from floor to floor, but not enough to conclude that it was a proper demolition. It had to have been a controlled one. And these are provided to us from the Center of Inquiry. Jet fuel, that was a very, very touchy subject because a lot of people can claim that the jet fuel did, you know, give us, it did contribute to the fires and the burnings of other things in the building, such as the floors, the carpets, some of the drywall. But other than that, it couldn't have melted the steel bars. It couldn't have. Those beams were designed to withstand winds of 170 miles an hour at those heights. That's an incredible resistance. And for those beams to have not been melted, I'll give you a quick excerpt from the Center of Inquiry again. Thermite reactions are very high but very slow compared to explosives. and they have to require a high temperature container. Now, yeah, it was very hot there with the fire, but with the jet fuel, the temperature was not enough, or not high enough to have melted the bars. Another thing we're going to touch on is the Pentagon. Uh, there seems to have been no plane to crash into the Pentagon. Now, this is a little disturbing because, according to freedomfiles.com, the steel columns are not being pushed in, but they're being pushed sideways as if a bomb went off. So, you think about any picture, anything that you ever have seen in a cartoon of the bomb exploding inside of a building. Everything blows out. When something hits something, it concaves in. Explain how the building exploded. It did not implode from an impact. It exploded. Explain it, please. Now we're gonna go into the media. Now they covered up a lot of what went on. A lot of the information that I'm providing was not provided and it was evident. They covered it up for years. They didn't want anybody to see it. According to the APA, which is the American Psychological Association, to the extent that the media continues to talk about 9/11, the more our memories of the attacks are solidified. Now, William Hurst states this, and what he's trying to say is the more we think about it, the more it's in our mind, the more the government tries to implement it, it's almost a societal rule. It's almost a way of controlling us into remembrance of this day so that we don't forget about patriotism. It was a very, very, very good tactic. Good's not the word, but it's a very, very I can't think. It was just a good tactic used by the United States government in order to inflict fear and give patriotism to the United States, and it worked. We have tremendous pride now, and we wouldn't be there today without 9/11. And it sucks to say, but the government did its job, and I just hope that y'all can see what I've said today and take it in and kind of gather a little bit from it and try and see it, a little bit my way. And it's just hard to go against things when they're sitting there right there in front of you, even though they are just theories. So y'all have a good day, and hope you enjoy it.